Hi there, this is Noah with the Training and Marketing Department here at Event Rental Systems, the official software company for Knockerball. So today I'm going to show you the basics of how to use your brand new fully functional ERS folder that allows you to take orders through your website, make money while you sleep, manage those orders more efficiently, and increase your profit margins, just make your life better. Now, before we dive in, I want to encourage you to like and subscribe to the ERS YouTube channel so you never miss out on any updates. You can do that by clicking on the ERS logo in the lower right-hand corner of your screen here. And with that said, let's go ahead and get rolling. So the first thing to know about your ERS folder, folders is what we call accounts in our system, is that you're always going to find it here in the URL. So you've probably been given a special URL that you use to sign into your ERS folder. And your folder name is going to be the first part of it, the part after the HTTPS part and before the .ourers.com part. So that part right in there, that is your folder name. Again, that's what we call accounts in our system. Anytime you talk with tech support, they're going to ask you for your folder name. So remember that, and just remember that anytime you want to log into your ERS folder to do some work, you are going to go to your folder name, .ourers.com, that's OURERS.com/CP. Now that CP stands for Control Panel, and it refers to the back end of your system, the administrative part of your ERS folder that only you and your employees have access to. So you also undoubtedly got some login credentials, and your username is probably admin. So go ahead and type in whatever that username was, and you probably got a 6-digit password. So you can go ahead and enter in that as well, and then go ahead and click submit, and you are going to be logged into the control panel or back end of your folder. Now the first thing that you'll see is this, what we call the EULA, the End User License Agreement. Feel free to go ahead and read that, and once you have read it and understand it, you can go ahead and click here to agree to it. And as I mentioned before, this is the CP or control panel, frequently referred to as the back end. There's also the front end, your live website. So anytime you are in the back end and you want to look at something on your website, you can click here on your logo in the upper left-hand corner, and it's going to open up your website in a separate browser tab. Now this is a training folder, so your website's going to look way different, way better than this, and you're not going to have this Latin text here. This is just placeholder text. Now, one thing to keep in mind, your website is going to have this .ourers.com URL. Don't worry about that. Think of this as essentially a copy of your actual live website that your customers are going to go to, because your website is kbwhatever.com. Again, think of it like a copy. So I'm going to go ahead and close out that tab. And the first order of business is to update my username and password. So I'm clicking into Admin General Config Users. And I'm going to go ahead and click into my own user profile with that username of admin. And I'm going to update this to actually be my name as the username. I'm going to update the password. I'm going to add my email. Technically, this is optional, but to me, it's useful information to have here. Now, this is very important. We need to make absolutely sure that every user is assigned to a group. Now, of course, you are the head honcho, right? So you're going to be in the administrator group. We've got 3 other groups, driver, employee, and manager. Those all have different permission levels, and you can actually customize those permission levels. I'm not going to get into the weeds on that right now. Just remember that anytime you add a new user, they have to have a group, and you're going to want to assign them the level that is most appropriate for them. So I'm leaving myself in the administrator group. I'm going to go ahead and update my first and last name here. I am going to add my phone number. Technically, this is also optional. I like to put it in there because this way the system can send me text messages. You need to make sure to add a mobile carrier if you are putting in a phone number. The system needs both the phone number and the mobile carrier in order to send that text message. Now, the rest of these fields are also optional. I'm not going to bother with any of the rest of these. I'm just going to go ahead and click on Submit. And the next thing I'm going to do is add another user. All right, I am going to add one of my drivers in. I'm going to give him a real simple password that he is going to change. And I am going to enter in his email address. And I'm going to assign him to the employee group. Again, I find it helpful to have this information in one place. So I'm going to go ahead and add his phone number and his mobile carrier. Not going to bother with the rest of this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and submit that. Now, one of the most common things you're going to do with your ERS folder is place orders. Now, there are two different ways to place orders through your ERS folder. You can do it through the front end, live website, like your customers will do, or you could do it through the back end. If you are working in the system, I strongly encourage you to use the back end ordering process. You have more options ordering through the back end because you're an administrative user of the system. You can override availability safeguards and scheduling safeguards and that sort of thing at your own discretion, since you're the, head honcho. And of course, your customers can't do that stuff on the live website. But it is important to, from time to time, begin the process of placing a test order, go through most of that process on your front end live website so that you can see what the process is like for your customers. Especially after you make edits and stuff like that, you want to test those edits. So we're going to go ahead and go through the back end ordering process in this video, but I do encourage you after this video to go ahead and go through the front end ordering process as well. You already know how to get to your website from the back end by clicking on the little logo in the upper left-hand corner in the back end. So once you've done that and you've got your website open, it's going to look something like this. And like I said, I do encourage you to go through this process a little bit after you're done with this video, just to get yourself familiar with what the ordering process is going to look like. It's actually very similar to the back-end ordering process, but it's going to look a little bit more slick and nice. You want your customers to have the nicest experience, right? You want them to see your beautiful brand new website. And again, of course, you have more options placing an order in the back end. So let's go ahead and go through that. I'm going to go ahead and click into the scheduling tab, and I'm going to click here to book an order. I'm going to start with order by date. I always like order by date because it's going to tell us what's available at that time and what's not. That way we don't get to the end of the order only to discover, uh-oh, the inventory you wanted actually isn't available during that time. So let's go ahead and look at this day. So this start time menu is going to have my normal hours of operation. I can actually click here to expand that menu to go midnight to midnight if I want to schedule an event for outside of my normal hours. Let's say that a customer is calling me and asking if they can start their event at 7 o'clock instead of 8. Because I'm an administrative user and I can override those normal rules, I use that expand feature to go ahead and open up this menu so that I can choose 7 a.m. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and say 1 p.m. is the end time of their event. And let's go ahead and go with a Knockerball rental. Now this is showing me how many of these items I have available during this time period. That's not going to show up during an online order for your customers if you have the online booking features enabled. Once again, this is one of those administrative only features. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to the cart. Now this is what we call a required add-on. There's information that we need in order to complete the order, so it's required. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's say there are 2 adults and 4 kids. Going to go ahead and submit that information here. Now if I like, I can go ahead and click here to update the price or add a discount. So I'm actually going to go with a discount because that's actually going to add a line item to the description. Let's say I agreed to give this customer a $25 discount. So I'm going to say update discount. And you can see there's a little note in there telling us that the original cost was $1,025 and I gave them a $25 discount. And so there's my new price. I can also click over here if I'm not really sure why the price is calculating a certain way. I can click here to get myself a clue. There's information from your price rule sets, which is essentially the plumbing that controls your pricing. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK on that. This all looks good. I'm going to click here to check out. Now, once again, here's another admin-only feature. You've got a customer search. In this particular case, we probably don't have any customers because this is a brand new folder, but I'm going to just go ahead and search for myself. Nope, nobody in there. So let's just go ahead and fill out these required fields. Now, all of this is customizable. So keep in mind, for example, we don't have to have this question here on this page if we don't want to. We can rephrase it or we can get rid of it. We can add different questions. We can, again, rephrase or add different checkbox reminders. That's what these are called, reminders. We can add additional phone fields. We can even add a birthday field. And actually, this entire ordering process is fully customizable. So if there's anything about this ordering process that doesn't feel right to you, just take notes as you go and we will help you fix it. Now, once again, we've got some admin-only fields. We've got an internal notes field, general discounts, miscellaneous fees. We can override the deposit requirement. We can override travel fees if we're charging travel fees. We can apply a different tax rate from the usual one, including we could just write 0 in there if it's a tax exempt organization. Now this is really important. We've got a customer status field. So good means it's a customer in good standing. Bad means it's a customer that you've had problems with in the past and you're not willing to do business with them. What that means is they will not be able to book an order on your website. Now, if you don't have online booking enabled anyway, then that won't affect them in that regard, but it would still give you a warning when you get to the payment screen that, hey, this customer has been marked as bad. Are you sure you want to proceed? You still could if you wanted to, but at least you know. Now, bad cleared means that there was an issue with this customer in the past, but it's been cleared up and you're willing to do business with them again. It's just kind of a note for you to remember, yeah, there's some history there. All right, let's go ahead and continue. We're going to go to the payment page. Here we have our payment page. So we've got a few different payment types. This is, of course, going to be your main one. You can also mark an order paid by check or partially paid by check. Rain checks, we store in the system if a customer had to cancel an order and you gave them a partial or complete rain check, then you could choose that from here. Gift cards, we have some special functionality for gift cards. You can mark the order paid with cash. And if the customer hasn't given you any payment and you trust them to do so, then you can go ahead and finalize the order by submitting without payment. In this particular case, I'm just going to pretend that this customer stopped by the office and actually paid me with cash. So let's say that they paid me their deposit in cash, and I am going to submit and send a receipt because I do want them to receive a receipt. This is available to you in case maybe you just had to update the customer's address or something like that, and you don't want to spam them with a bunch of unnecessary emails. So, by the way, it's very important to understand that a quote is not the same as an order. If you click here to send a quote, then that means that this order is not finalized. The inventory won't be reserved and it's not actually considered an order. It's just a quote. There will be a link in their quote email that the customer can click on to pay their deposit and make it an order. But until they do that, it's a quote and not an order. So do not send a quote if you actually want this to be an order. A quote is a quote and an order is an order. Remember that, because otherwise you're going to have people calling you, where are you? You didn't show up today for our order, and you say, well, you didn't have an order. And they're going to say, yes, we did. And you're going to realize, uh-oh, it's because I made a quote and not an order. So we're going to go ahead and submit and send a receipt. Now this page right here is called the thank you page. It is editable. If you don't like what it says here, just let us know and we will be happy to show you where to do that. Let's take a quick look at the emailed receipt. You will receive a copy of that receipt, as will your customer. All right, now that Google decided to finally load this page, we can actually take a look at this receipt. So this is what the receipt document looks like. Again, this is an editable document, so feel free to reach out if you would like to change this document, and we will show you how to do that. All right, now the last order of business is to show y'all how to close business. So we're going to go back into admin, and then we're going to go to rules and availability rule sets. Anytime you want to close business, it's always admin, rules, availability rule sets, universal availability. So you can see we are closed for Christmas. We can add a closure span. So if, for example, let's say I'm going to close for a few days this summer, we always need to make sure to follow that YYYY MMDD format. So I'm going to say, let's say June 10th through June 12th, I'm going out of town. Whoops, I added an extra dash at the end there. Going to go ahead and submit my changes here. And we will see if we go into the scheduling calendar and we navigate to June, that we are closed on those particular days. Now, we can also do things like scheduling a closure, but with overlapping orders allowed. In other words, customers could schedule an order where they still have your inventory during your close date. Maybe you deliver it the day before and you pick it up the day after, that sort of thing. So for that sort of thing, we can go into, again, universal availability. We can click here to add a new rule. And we can choose closure span, allow overlapping orders. We can also get pretty nitty-gritty to where perhaps we close for deliveries on a few particular days, but we're open to having people come and pick up inventory. So if that's the case, we can go with closure span delivery, allow overlapping orders. So for this, let's say in September, I am going to take a little vacation, but I am happy to let people have my stuff for a few days. So I'm going to say call to book. And with closure span, allow overlapping orders. Let's say in November, I'm going to close for deliveries only for a few days. And so on the calendar, I'm going to say pickups only. I'm going to go ahead and submit one more time. All right, and now I am going to go ahead and click back in here to open up my live website again. And I'm going to go ahead and go here to the order by date page to see my event calendar. We can see that we are closed on these particular days. And there's no way that I can actually place an order on that day. It's just closed across the board. There's no overlapping orders or anything. And then we can see if we go to September, we're going to see that call to book message. And if we go to November, we are going to see that pickups only message. So just a few more basics before we wrap this video. I encourage you to go ahead and click around a little bit, see what you can find. Again, this scheduling tab, we already have kind of explored that a little bit. You can see that there are different views. For example, you've got your active orders here. You've got incomplete orders here, meaning that somebody began to place an order on your website, but they didn't finish and they did provide contact information. By the way, we do have some automated features that will automatically follow up with them. That's something we'll cover in a subsequent video. Created will show you when events were actually created as opposed to the actual date of the event. Active is the date of the event. Created is the date that the order was created. You got your sent quotes here. You've got your canceled orders here. You have different views here of your events. So I encourage you to play around with all that stuff. And you can play around with the CRM, the Customers tab here. CRM stands for Customer Relationships Manager. You've even got a delivery and routing area. Now, for a lot of you, if you're only doing one job per day, this isn't going to be super necessary for you. But if you're doing multiple jobs, if you have bounce houses and other things like that, you're trying to diversify your revenue stream, this can be a super useful feature. You've got a bunch of different reports here. And you can click into any one of these reports and get a feel for the kind of information that's going to be in here. And you can always export these reports to CSV, meaning Excel or Google Docs, whatever your favorite spreadsheet program is. Last but not least, we've also got a knowledge base up here. There are a lot of articles and whatnot. So for example, if we have forgotten how to do a closure, we can watch this video. So once again, I encourage you to take a look around and keep some notes. Think about whatever questions you might have about how best to use your ERS folder and what you would like to learn, and we will be happy to help. So speaking of help, the ERS Tech Support Department is your best friend. I strongly encourage you to reach out to them early and often. You can reach them at 505-435-9731, extension 102. Their hours are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Time. And if you leave a voicemail, we will get back to you quickly. You can also always send us an email at support@eventrentalsystems.com. So once again, welcome aboard. Glad to be working with you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.